behind you. Don't look behind you. You'll die. You'll die. You'll die. Don't look behind you.
He talks to me. He says they talk to him. He says they tell him his time is coming. He'll soon be one of them. He says it'll be a new kind of fun. He says I'll get to play and I'll get to talk to them. I'll still be able to talk to him because he'll be one of them. I suppose that I'm getting ahead of myself. I suppose that I should introduce me. No need to tell you my name. That won't really matter soon. But there's enough time still to tell you who I am. I've been bored lately. I've spent quite a bit of time on my computer, or at least I had until he started, well, I must admit, I have this little place in my heart for creepypasta forums. A little bit of MCP or CMP to start or finish my day always fills those thrill-seeking youthful yearnings that still linger as I waddle my way into my late 20s. Jeff the Killer, Slender Man, the Pen Pal series have all wiggled their way into my weekly routine. Very rarely do I actually get caught up in one and get scared, but I live in a bit of a glorified hotel, so sometimes the creep factor is supreme enough to raise my hairs. Never really believed in all of it back then, though. Then one day, I was on my way to my menial sales job to make my scraps for the week when I decided to skip out for the night. I don't know what it was. I just had this natural draw pulling me towards the unlit night. I lived in this area for a while now, so I feel pretty comfortable doing pretty much whatever I want around here. It just seemed like the perfect night to go out into the woods, throw up a hammock and set up a fire. Everything was so peaceful and serene, I just needed to escape. So I veered off to the left at the next road that looked like it headed away from town. I didn't know this road, but luckily all I needed was to get away from society and find a spot to park. So the fire was optional, really, and I managed to hang my hammock up in the back of my van at some point, so I could be lazy pretty much anywhere. Found a random spot way out in the boondocks and pulled off the road. It was actually a nice little area. There was even already a fire pit. I grabbed a few branches and started up a nice little fire. It was about a foot tall, not very wide, but it did provide enough light for me to hang the hammock up between two perfectly situated trees. You gotta love those little camping hammocks. As I lay there, gazing at the night sky, I started to zone off into the cosmos. Thoughts were racing away from my mind. I was aware of them, but they slipped away, never lingering long enough to have an effect. I lost myself to the point that I was no longer even looking through my eyes, but dreaming myself into the very stars I had been looking at moments ago. But for now, I suddenly realized being blocked. As I came down into reality, my eyes began to go back to their original job, intaking my surroundings. No, I didn't have to scan the area. As when I came to awareness, I realized there was an empty face hovering right in front of mine. I want you to take in what I mean when I say hovering. At this point in the story, I'm laying on my hammock, on my back, 10 feet off of the ground. The face that was in my face was facing my direction. which was down. It wasn't coming from the side, it wasn't upside down. The face was eye to eye with me, as if we were standing and about to shake hands. And as soon as I realized it was there, it decided to be gone. I watched it disappear, slowly. First, its skin faded into nothing, revealing a fleshy, naked, elongated body outlined by veins which were fading from existence in the dancing firelight. After moments, it was just bone with chunks of flesh hanging but disappearing, and then nothing hovered between the stars and I, save for the most eerie after-image I've ever been privy to. The tall, naked body of the thing I'd just seen, it did not make sense. Nothing is that tall, and nothing can hover like that. In the last 5 minutes before, and the first 5 minutes after sleep, the mind may become vulnerable to what's known as sleep hypnosis. People who are prone to this behavior and have suffered traumatic experiences may become victim to night terrors. I am not. However, I am aware of sleep hypnosis and can attribute hovering faces above my hammock easily to this simple act of DMT pumping through a still waking mind. I've done my fair share of experimenting after all. This is what I did. I lit a cig and decided I needed a few moments before attempting to sleep again. As the robust smoke siphoned through the orange filter into my anxious lungs, I contemplated this recent event. What would my psychiatrist say about faceless hovering bodies? What does this represent? I'd imagine if I had to put a real answer to it, I'd say the gradual de-individualization of our youth on the binge slide to adulthood. How I feel society has stolen what self-identification I once possessed by capturing and commercializing it. It could also probably be attributed to Sam I Am's killer weed. And then I heard it. It started as a soft whisper, indiscernible but bold. I could hear it grow closer and louder, but not more distinct. It was 20 feet away or so, and close. Hammock, nylon, $26. Gallon of water, plastic jug, 88 cents. Hightailing it the fuck out of there so I wasn't the idiot in a creepypasta that just ignored some shit that would have sent a sane person running. Priceless. I'm sure that reference is too old for some to get. Whatever. I dropped the jug into the fire. It would melt eventually and put it out. As I fumbled for my keys in the pocket with my other hand, I got in the van and did a reverse three-point like I was driving a classic Charger. I put my foot to the floor and rubber to the road in my little grocery getter. I hell-noped the fuck out. As I drove along the unfamiliar road, reeling over the last 5 minutes, I realized I could still hear the indiscernible whisper coming through my cracked window. I looked to see the faceless face facing into my passenger window at 45 miles per hour on an unlit, curvy road. I blinked and it was gone, but the whisper still remained. I can hear what it says now. I haven't been to work in a couple of weeks. I stay in my room. I'm sure I'll run out of money soon. It's $250 a week here. I only have so much left in the bank. I don't care. He tells me I won't need money. He hasn't used it in as far back as he can remember. He says his life was once driven by money. He says he was a businessman, He says he went camping one day with his family and someone started talking to him like he talks to me. He says they talked to him too. Says they told him told him to tell him he would soon be one of them, that he would take his place and would be able to talk to them. And then he says he was told one day that I would take his place and he would be one of them. He says that when I would take his place, that one day you would take my place. And it's okay, he says. He says when you're one of them, you'll be happy. He says it's their only way to fight back. He says that when we become like him, he says that's when we help. When we help them to teach the little children not to hurt them. And they grow up and they hurt them ever so badly. He says they cut them with axes and they burn them. He says sometimes they burn them while they're still alive. He says they cut them and before they die from being cut up, he says they pour gasoline on them and they burn them. Those people are so evil. Those people. But it's okay. It's okay. They just have to be taught. We have to teach them. They're young, so they don't grow up and hurt them. We'll be one of them too, after all. We have to stop them from growing up to hurt us. We have to stop them from growing up. I mean, that's what he tells me. He tells me what they tell him. He says it's fun. He says we get the little children, only letting them see us. He says we get them and we take the little children to them. We give the little children to them, and they teach the children. They teach them good. They teach them real good. I can hear whispers now. I can hear them talking sometimes. But now I hear them too. I was kind of stocky before. I was pretty short. Kind of stocky. Curly, dark hair with a little bit of a tan. Well, that's what it used to look like. Now I'm not so short. I've grown a bit, actually. Don't worry, you will too. I've gone from 5'6" to, I think about 7'1" in just 2 weeks. I think it's been only 2 weeks. I can hear them. No whispers. It's not my noise. I know it's them. I look in the mirror and see how pale I am. I'm so pale now. I'm white. I'm 7 feet tall or more, and I'm so white. My arms are so long. I can hear him. I mean, I can hear him coming in my house now. He says it'll be time to go soon. He's not in here yet, so I can't see him. I don't need to see him to know what he looks like, though. I mean, I just need to see myself in the mirror. I look like him. I know he has no face. He's so tall. I know he's wearing a suit. I know it because I'm wearing a suit, but I didn't even know I owned a suit. I know he has these tentacle things come out of his back. Weird. So I got him, of course. So tall. So also slender. I can hear them coming in clear now. They say it's not just the children anymore. They say we can teach everybody. We can teach whoever we want. They say it doesn't always have to be one at a time. To try and keep it that way, we can teach people that we like first, and then people that we don't like. We can watch the people. They say they don't want to be chopped down anymore. Those people make the air taste disgusting. Putrid. They don't want to have to teach everybody, but they will. They just want to bask in the warm sunlight, feel the nice cool ground on their roots as they search for water deep down in the ground. Sounds quite nice, actually. I can't wait to teach all the people so that one day I can be one of them. I hope you're ready. Help us teach them.